अंग अंग अकीर्तनम पावकनाम से शांगपुत्रा बनुपुत्र माता श्री अग्निर्वाणी स्थापयामि पूजामि प्रतिगर्तां गिरं अग्नेभ्यो नमो नमः मंत्रपुष्पं समर्पयामि अग्नेभ्यो नमो नमः वाहिं स्थापयामि पूजामि प्रतिगर्तां अग्ने नमो नमः मंत्रपुष्पं समर्पयामि अग्ने नमः वाहिं स्थापयामि पूजामि प्रतिगर्तां ओम सर्वसमायुक्तं सुगन्धिं दलवनं जलमिति आचमनीयं दत्तं गृहणाम समन्त मंगलम आचमनीयं समर्पयामि इदं अग्ने नमो वाहिं स्थापयामि रक्षाकरो अग्ने नमो नमः मंत्रपुष्पं समर्पयामि विघ्नहरताभ्यो नमो नमः ओम तच्चमृडावणिमि गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपति देवी स्वस्र स्वस्रमानुषेभ्यः उद्वं जगातु वीषजं शं नो अस्तु द्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे ओम नमो हिरण्यबाहवे हिरण्यवदनाय हिरण्यरूपा हिरण्यपतेऽम्बिका पशुपतिभ्यो नमो नमः ओम श्री अष्टसिद्धि देवताभ्यो नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री प्रणवदूताय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री माधवाय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री लंबोदराय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री विकटाय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री गणाध्यक्षाय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री सत्यपुरंदराय नमः स्वाहा ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय स्वाहा ओम मारुतात्मजाय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री आंजनेयाय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री महादूताय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री गोविंदाय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री हनुमते नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री गजगौरीश्वराय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री लंबोदराय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री बालचंद्राय नमः स्वाहा ओम गणाध्यक्षाय नमः स्वाहा ओम महारुद्राय नमः स्वाहा ओम श्री मारुतात्मजाय नमो नमः स्वाहा ओम भूर्भुवस्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गदेवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ओम श्री नमो नारायणाय नमः स्वाहा ओम भूर्भुवस्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गदेवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा ओम भूर्भुवस्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गदेवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनं उर्वारुकमेव वन्दनामि मृत्युर्मुक्षयमामृतात् स्वाहा ओम मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रं मुनिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयुतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये ओम श्री हनुमते नमः आंजनेयाय नमः श्री महापुत्राय नमः स्वाहा ओम सर्वकृतसमायुक्तं सुगन्धिं दलवनं जलमिति आचमनीयं दत्तं गृहणां सर्वन्तमङ्गलमत आचमनीयं समर्पयामि अग्नेभ्यो नमो नमः वाहिं स्थापयामि पूजामि प्रतिगर्तां अग्नेभ्यो नमो नमः पुष्पं समर्पयामि ओम वनस्पतिरसोभूतगन्धादिगन्धुत्मार्ग्य सर्वदेवानां धूपोऽयं प्रतिगर्तां धूपोऽयं समर्पयामि दमग्ने नमः अवायं स्थापयामि पूजामि प्रतिगर्तां मन्त्रपुष्पं समर्पयामि अग्निदेवता की जय
साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे
बजरंग बली मेरी नाम चली बजरंग बली मेरी नाम चली जरा बल्ली कृपा लगा देना बजरंग बली मेरी नाम चली। मुझे रोग शोक ने घेर लिया, मुझे रोग शोक ने घेर लिया। मेरे कष्ट को नाथ मिटा देना, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। मैं तो दास आपका जन्म से हूँ, मैं तो दास आपका जन्म से हूँ। बालक और शिष्य भी धर्म से हूँ, बेशर्म विमुख निज कर्म से हूँ, बेशर्म विमुख निज कर्म से हूँ। चित्त से मेरा दोष मिटा देना, मिटा देना, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। दुर्बल हूँ, गरीब हूँ, दीन हूँ मैं। दुर्बल हूँ, गरीब हूँ, दीन हूँ मैं। नित कर्म किया अतिहीन हूँ मैं। बलवीर तेरे आधीन हूँ मैं, बलवीर तेरे आधीन हूँ मैं। मेरी बिगड़ी हुई को बना देना, बना देना, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। बल दे के मुझे बल शक्ति मेरी अक्षय कर दो, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। जरा बल्ली कृपा लगा देना, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली।
वनस्पत्र सबूतगंधादि सर्वनामंत्रपुष्पं समर्पयामि।
बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। जरा बल्ली कृपा लगा देना, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। मुझे रोग शोक ने घेर लिया, मुझे रोग शोक ने घेर लिया। मेरे कष्ट को नाथ मिटा देना, बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। मैं तो दास आपका जन्म से हूँ, मैं तो दास आपका जन्म से हूँ। बालक और शिष्य भी धर्म से हूँ, बेशर्म विमुख निज कर्म से हूँ, बेशर्म विमुख निज कर्म से हूँ। चित्त से मेरा दोष मिटा देना, मिटा देना। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। दुर्बल हूँ गरीब हूँ दीन हूँ दुर्बल हूँ गरीब हूँ दीन हूँ मैं। नित कर्म किया अतिहीन हूँ मैं। बलवीर तेरे आधीन हूँ मैं। बलवीर तेरे आधीन हूँ मैं। मेरी बिगड़ी हुई को बना देना, बना देना। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। बल दे के मुझे निर्भय कर दो। बल शक्ति मेरी अक्षय कर दो। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। जरा बल्ली कृपा लगा देना। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली। बजरंग बली मेरी नाव चली।
प्रेम से समापति महादेव की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, बजरंग बली की जय. As we begin this beautiful night, the first night of our wonderful Ashta Siddhi Yatra, we begin this night with devotion and dedication to none other than our Lord Sri Hanumanji. And as we are about to begin with the wonderful arati of our Lord, we join in beautiful invocation mantras. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswati नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिं भवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्त्रमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिसीदसादनं गं गणपतये नमः। ओम न तत्र सुभाति न चन्द्रतारकं नेमा विद्युरोपान्तिकृतेमग्निः तमेव भान्तुमर्भाति सर्वं तस्वासा सर्वं विरं विभाते। ओम नमो हिरण्यबाहवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्यपतेऽम्बिकापदमा पशुपतिभ्यो नमो नमः। ओम हर हर पार्वतीपते हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव हर हर महादेव। आरती की जय हनुमान लला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की। आरती की जय हनुमान लला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला की। आरती की जय हनुमान लला की दुष्ट दलन रघुनाथ कला। जय बजरंग बली। जाके बल से गिरिवर कापे मृग दोष जाके निकट न जाके। जय श्री राम। जाके बल से गिरिवर कापे मृग दोष जाके निकट न जाके। अंजनी 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 पुत्र महाबलदाई संतन के प्रभु सदा सहाय। जय श्री राम। देवीरा देवीरा रघुनाथ पताये लंका जारी सिया सुधिलाए। देवीरा रघुनाथ पताये लंका जारी सिया सुधिलाए। जात जात हो जात पवन सुत बारन लाए लंका जारी असुर संहारे। जय बजरंग बली। लक्ष्मण मूर्छित परे सकारे आनि संजीवन प्राण उबारे। कैती हो पैती पचाल डोरे जमकारी ऐ रावण के पूजा उतारे। ओम श्री हनुमते नमः। ओम मारुतात्मजाय नमः। सुन नर मुनि आरती उतारे। जय 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 हनुमान उतारे। सुन नर मुनि आरती उतारे। जय 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 हनुमान उतारे। कंचन 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 तारक पुरल तारे आरती करत अंजना माये। beautiful opportunity, my dear friends, tonight as we start this wonderful yajna, as we prepare to build the energy of Lord Hanumanji for worship on 8 wonderful nights, Ashta Siddhi. He's called Ashta Siddhi Nava. And while he's known as the one with the 8 siddhas and the 8 forms of blessings, we say, Lord, may you bless us, may you protect us, may you give us the inspiration once more to rise above all the troubles of the world. May you motivate us, Lord, into the different levels of the universe. May you stand with us and may you walk with us. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Prem se Samapati Mahadeva ki jai. Asan lijiye as we take our seats at this time. We begin a beautiful night in devotion to our Lord. To all those who are tuned in on this wonderful night, let me take this golden opportunity first of all to especially welcome each and every one. We take a moment to welcome all those who are tuned in tonight via all our medias, to all those who are locked on via Facebook, to all those who are tuned in via 103.1 FM, and to all those who are locked on via Sankhya Television once more. We cordially welcome you to a beautiful first night of our Sri Hanuman Yatra, as it is called the Ashta Siddhi Yatra. We specially welcome tonight the members of the celestial Gandarvas, once more the musicians of the heavens who will create the energy, the vibrations of Mahavir Swami, as we once more narrate this wonderful epic of Lord Hanumanji. To begin the night, without further ado, let us all take a moment as we to Lord Ganesha we pray. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakote Samaprabha Nirvighanam Kurume Deva Sarvakajeshu Sarvada Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Durga Rupena Sanstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Sanstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Saraswati Rupe Sanstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Chapadhana Atulita Baladhamam Himashailavadeham Danujavana Krishanam Jnaninamagraganyam Sakala Gunanidanam Varananamadesham Raghupati Priyabhaktam Vatajatam Namami Goshpade Kritavadesham Masaki Kritarakshasam Ramayana Mahamalaratnam Vandinilatmajam Anjananandanam Veram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapishamakshahanta वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् उल्लङ्घ्यसिन्धोः सलिलं सलीलं यः शोकवहे जनकात्मजायाः आजानतेनैव ददालङ्का नमामि तं प्राञ्जल्याञ्जलेयम् मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जीते बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठम् अवातात्मजं वानरयुतमोक्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये। ॐ श्री हनुमते नमः। ॐ श्री आञ्जनेयाय नमः। ॐ श्री मारुतात्मजाय नमः। As we begin this beautiful night once more, वरनौ रघुवर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। कपीशति लोक उजागर रामदूत तुलित बलधामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विराज कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साज शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बस्या महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय श्री राम। रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंका जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के कार्य सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति के ने बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के कार्य सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति के ने बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। तुम रोज सगावे हंस गए श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद शारद सहित अहिसा यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि को विद कही सके कहाते तुमो पुकार सुग्रीव ही केरा राम मिलाय राज पर दिन महावीर बलवंता महावीर बलवंता जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय श्री राम। मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जान। युग सहस्र योजन पर भानु, लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मोद्रिका मिली मुख माही, जलधि लांगे गए अचर जनाई। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे ते। महावीर बलवंता, महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। राम द्वारे तुम रखवारे, उतना आज्ञा निर्भय सारे। सब सकल है तुम्हारे शरणा, तुम रक्षक गाहो गो डरना। आपन तेज समारो आपै, तीनहु लोक हांकते कापै। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। महावीर बलवंता, महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। जय श्री राम। नासे रोग हरै सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान चुरावे, भरगम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। महावीर बलवंता, महावीर बलवंता, हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियार। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। हनुमत से सर्व सुख करहि, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा। जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीर, महावीर बलवंता, महावीर बलवंता, जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। हनुमते नमः। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई। कृपा करहु गुरुदेव के नाय, जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, तुत ही बंदे महासुख होई। जो यहाँ पर हनुमान चालीसा होय। Say and again, Lord, as we worship you, we invoke your strength and your energy to guide us. जय हनुमान महावीर बलवंता, पवन पुत्र हनुमान। 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 पवन पुत्र हनुमान, पावन तनय संकट हरणं, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। बजरंग only touched half of the scripture. It is said the energy, the blessings, the kahanis, the stories, the myths and the energy of Lord Hanumanji, it is so vast and so much that not even 25 nights could have completed the reading of the holy text. We have come tonight, being the first night, to join in what we call Ashta Siddhi Yatra. He is known to be Ashta Siddhi Nava Ninhi ke data Asbar Dina Janaki Mata. Ashta Siddhi Yatra. Our Lord, my friends, He is known to be blessed with 8 siddhis, 8 powers, 8 forms of strength, 8 forms of magic. And while we will pray to our Lord from tonight being the first night until the last, the 8th night, every single day we will pray for a different blessing, a different miracle, a different power of Lord Hanumanji to be instilled in our lives. And as we will begin the night, our katha begins in our wonderful Hanuman Charitramanas. To those who can once more recap on the last episode, on our 25th night of our last yatra, Lord Hanumanji had taken the Lord Prabhu Ramachandra on his, and upon completion of the entire war that will take place, by words of Vibhishan said to Prabhu Ram, he says, after the entire war and everybody has gone back now to Bharat and India, I will ask you, Lord, please destroy this bridge so that in future, the world or Rakshasas and demons will not find a way to simply come to Lanka easily, while I, Vibhishan, will take throne. To those who would have looked at the samples on the satellites of that bridge that was built, some people were actually saying recently, while the bridge was built, we can see 3/4 of the bridge. Just to recap, when Lord Hanumanji had taken Prabhu Ramachandra across and he had reached, they could see beautifully now this wonderful city of Lanka. Vibhishan says, at the end of the entire war, try to take missiles and break the bridge as much as you can. So if you look into the satellites right now, you will see the bridges there lined out, but you will see spaces in between. And some people might say, well, some of the rocks probably went away. But it didn't just go away. They were then bombed at different spots while missiles were sent to ensure that no other Rakshasa would have been able to cross. So the line is there, but slightly broken. And then 3/4 way, you will find now everything is missing. Why? Because that is where Ravana had broken the bridge. As we continue our message, Katha begins now. The entire army stands by the Suvela mountain. Not too far, Ravana's chambers above in his palace, and he's looking out. And Angad, he prostrates to Prabhu Shri Ramachandra and he says, Prabhu Ram, let us give him one more warning before we now begin this war. And while Prabhu Shri Ramachandra blesses him, he says, now that we've landed on the earth and we're about to begin a war, let us pray to the Lord first. The Lord that you will worship before you embark on any journey. The Lord that you will pray to before Gananata Dinavadana Gananata Gajavadana Gananata Dinavadana Gananata Gajavadana Gananata Dinavadana. Shakti Devi Mata, we will combine your energy as Lord Ganesha Vigneshwara. And being the form of Devi Mata in your form of Lord Ganesha, we will pray for success. In that time of Ganesh Utsav festival, we worship Lord Ganesha and we pray for him to rid us of all our negativities, all our troubles and difficulties. Today, Prabhu Ramachandra, he takes a little bit of dirt and then he molds it into Lord Ganapati. And he says, Angad, Mahavir, Jamwant, Nal, Neel, everybody come together. Hath jodkar, pray. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Siddhi Data Shivatanaya
पार्वती नंदन भवभय बंदन योगा योगा वंदन जय श्री गणेश योगा योगा वंदन जय श्री गणेश विनायका 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 विश्वाधारा विनायका विश्वाधारा विनायका सिद्धि विनायक विनायका सिद्धि विनायक विनायका 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 ओम गम गणपतये नमः विनायका 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 प्रेम से गणेश भगवान की जय In our katha, it is said when Prabhu Ramachandra spoke with Angad, he says, Angad, let us give Ravana one more warning. Angad leaves after prostration to Lord Ganapati. He makes his leaps and he makes his jump. He's powerful and he's strong. As a leader, he makes his leap and he goes up to the peak, to the top of that palace of Ravana. And there he sees Ravana. He takes his gada and he places it beside him to stand. And there he says, Ravana, I've come to give you one more chance. To those who can remember our last episode, Angad speaks to Ravana and Angad says, I will give you one more chance. Ravana says, I'm not scared of monkeys and bears. You can't fool me. Go hands together. I am begging you, give back Sita Mata. The Lord Shri Ramachandra has come to the shores of Lanka. And if you want your city to survive, if you want to survive Ravana, then give back Sita Devi. Ravana says, you've come here as a son to advise me. You've come to give me an advice. I won't take advice. Go from here. And Angad says, Ravana, take a careful look and look one more time. And Angad, he shows Ravana all of them. He says, look down there on the banks of the ocean, setting up camp at this time. Look who's there. You see that furry one over there? He's called Jamwant. You see those over there? They are Null and they are Neel. You see the one who's standing there with the fair complexion? The one who's holding the bow? He's Lakshmana. You see the one who's radiating with the energy? That is Prabhu Ramachandra. And Ravana, mind you, you see that one who stands in front of all of them? You see him holding the mace just like I hold the mace? Ravana, that is the said one who had burnt your city. That is the one who have come to give you a warning. Remember the curse of Nandi, that monkeys and bears will destroy you one day. That one who's standing there, he's called Lord Hanuman. Don't surpass them. They are mighty and they are powerful. One more chance, Ravana. If I leave now and you do not surrender, I'm sorry for what may happen to your city. Ravana looks at Angad and he says, you've come here to warn me, leave from here. Go from this spot. And if it's a war you want, I will prepare for war. Angad leaves and he says, Ravana, Jai Shri Ram. And he makes his leap and he goes back to Prabhu Ramachandra. And when he reaches Prabhu Rama, He puts his hands together and he says, Prabhu, I tried. I gave him one more chance. Devotees, every single day we are given one more chance. We can testify today as an example. After 1 year, after the year of performing a yatra and coming here tonight, we can testify that every single day that goes by is a trial. It's a day in which we are not sure what can happen next. The pandemic has wiped out so much. The pandemic has wiped out thousands of people. Today, family members, they look at one another and they smile, and tomorrow they get a call and somebody's not alive anymore. Today we wake up and we see our brother and our sister and we look at them, and sometimes we even fight them and say, leave me alone. And then if we get a word by tomorrow morning that they are COVID positive, we cry and we say, I wish I could just reach them out one more time. The world has become different. Time has become different. The world has changed. The universe has changed in a different army there. And by the time you leave to go to work and you come back, you realize the ambulance took her. You wake up and you see your brother, your sister, your friend, or your spouse, or your loved one, and you see them and you leave to go out, and by the time you come back, you get the word, they've left home and they may never return. Life is unpredictable, and every day we are given one more chance. Tonight is your chance to redeem yourself to the Divine Lord. Wherever you are in this world and tuned in, take a moment and sit at the feet of your Murti. Take the Murti of Lord Hanumanji tonight, and I will tell you from tonight for the rest of 8 nights, make it one of your promise and dedicate yourself. Take a Murti of Lord Ganesha in your hand, or take a Murti of Lord Hanumanji in your hand. And from now to the rest of the yatra, the 8 nights, the moment our yatra begins and the satsang begins and you start with the chant of Shri Hanuman Chalisa, hold that Murti in your hand of Lord Hanumanji and say, Lord, give me energy and strength. You are the one who's called Ashta Siddhi Yatra. You can rid us of all the pains and the illness and the sicknesses of the world. But we need your energy, Lord. Hold on to a Murti of Lord Hanumanji and pray every night. And say, Lord, we are praying for your strength. We are given one more opportunity every day. Every day you can wake up and open the eyes. It is a blessing of another day. Every day you can wake up and be able to walk. It is an opportunity of another day and another moment. Every day you can move your hands and you can speak and you can see and you can acknowledge senses. It's another opportunity. It's another blessing that you have been given. Take this moment now and pray, friends. And while we are praying, Ravana was given one more chance. But even with that one chance, what did he do? He told Angad, leave from here and do not come back. Angad went to Prabhu Ram. He says, Prabhu, I tried, but at this time, there's no hope. I think it is time, Prabhu Ram. Signal the war. The war must begin. Prabhu Ram turned to Lakshman and he held him by the shoulder and he says, Bhaiya, are you ready? We are ready to find Sita Devi. Are you ready to search for the mother? And Lakshmana says, of course, that is why we are here, Prabhu. It is time. Nal, Neel, Angad, Jamwan, Hanumanji. It is time. While Lord Hanumanji looks at the Lord, he goes at the top of the Suvela mountain. He calls all the monkeys and all the bears and he says, you all come. While you're standing here, this war is about to start. All monkeys and all bears, he says, start running around, start howling, start growling, start making your sounds, start creating the sounds of joy, start creating the sounds of fear, start creating the sounds of both. Allow Ravana to know that the war is about to begin, and we will begin at this point. And while Lord Hanumanji hails out, Prabhu Ramachandra ki jai, it is said they start running towards the palace of Lanka. And while Ravana is seeing all the monkeys and bears coming, Hanumanji, he turns to the Lord, he holds his gada, he places his hands together, and he says, Prabhu Ram, Jai Shri Ram. Rama Bhaktam, Rama Bhaktam, Balavantam, Rama Bhaktam, Balavantam, Vande Santam, Hanumantam, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। वंदे संतम हनुमंतम, वंदे संतम हनुमंतम। जय श्री राम। राम भक्तम राम भक्तम, राम भक्तम राम भक्तम। राम भक्तम बलवंतम, वंदे संतम हनुमंतम, वंदे संतम हनुमंतम। ज्ञान पंडित अंजन तनया, ज्ञान पंडित ओ ज्ञान पंडित अंजन तनया। पवना पुत्रं तेजं, पवना पुत्रं भास्कर तेजं, भास्कर तेजं, भास्कर तेजं। वंदे संतं हनुमंतं, वंदे संतं हनुमंतं। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम। श्री राम जय राम। उमापति महादेव की जय। When Lord Hanumanji looked at all the monkeys and all the bears, he says to them at this time, start howling, start growling, start running everywhere, start charging towards Lanka, towards the palace. When the people, the villagers of Lanka, when the villagers of Ravana, they heard the howling of the animals, they heard the howling of the bears, and they heard the growlings of the monkeys. At that point, they all gathered at the base of Lanka, at the base of the palace, and all of them started begging now, Ravana, please give back Sita Devi here. That war is about to begin. We will lose our life. We will lose our families. Ravana, please. Ravana looked at them and he says, are you scared? Don't you know who I am? Don't be scared. At the end, we will take the heads of the monkeys and we will put it as an ornament in our homes. We will take the skin of the monkeys and the bears and we will use it for clothing. We will take the flesh of these animals and we will feed our children. Don't be scared. Ravana says we will destroy all of them, and there he calls his army. He says, bring all the dogs, bring all the wolves, bring my army, bring the youngest and the strongest of my army men, and line them up and start opening that gate and allow them to leave. Allow this war to begin. If it's a war that they want to fight, how does Prabhu Ramachandra think that he could win or fight someone like me, Ravana? Does he think that he have a chance? At that point, it is said one of the ministers of Ravana's kingdom, he walked up to Ravana and he says, Ravana, in the beginning when you brought Sita Devi Mata, you said, how can a mere man with some animals just cross this big ocean and come here? Tere Ravana, the entire army is here. Ravana, take heed. Why don't you give back? Ravana pushed him aside and he says, nobody will talk to me today. Mai Lankeshu. I am Ravana and nobody will be able to stop me. He says, open the gateways. And while he's about to open the gateways, the monkeys are climbing up the walls. They've been set in all directions. It is said Sri Hanumanji was sent on the western gate of Lanka. It is said Angad was sent on the southern gate of Lanka. Nal and Neel, they went to the eastern gate. Prabhu Shri Ramachandra, Lakshmana, they stood in the northern gate. And at that point, they're about to close in on Ravana. While monkeys and bears are climbing the walls, Ravana opens the gateway and now his young army is about to come out. His young army is about to begin this war and they are fighting. And while the animals, the dogs, the wolves, the monkeys, the bears, they start fighting, friends, the atmosphere becomes dusty. The atmosphere becomes cloudy. They are marching across a field and there's sand that is lifting in the air. And the battle is taking place. It is said for the entire day, the first day of the battle, while the war is taking place, Prabhu Ramachandra, he's releasing arrows upon arrows. It is said thousands and thousands of monkeys and bears and even wolves and dogs and even the army of Ravana, they are dying one by one. And while they are dying, he's fighting the war. The day is about to dawn. It is said the afternoon is about to come. And when Prabhu Ramachandra realizes that 3/4 and more of the army of Ravana has died, he then now signals, he says, Hanumanji, night is about to dawn and the first day of the war is about to be completed. Allow everybody to retreat now. Allow them to come back. Let them save their energies. Ravana is looking above in his palace, and when he looks down, what is this moment? And there he sits in his chambers and he starts to ponder. While Prabhu Ramachandra, he gathers everybody. Lord Hanumanji goes and he kneels down and he says, Prabhu, is everything okay now? We are winning day by day. And at this point, you have my strength. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Ram. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. While Ravana peeks out, Ravana is scared, but you know what? He stands at the edge of his forest with a bow and arrow, with barely anything. Could have left from where he left in Ayodhya and reached to Lanka. He's starting to question, if a mere little human being like that could do that, what will befall me in time? But you know what? Ego is starting to fill him. Never underestimate people. Never underestimate the strength of people. Never underestimate the size of an individual. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Never underestimate the people around you. When Ravana, as the king of Lanka, said, a mere man leaving Ayodhya, what could he do? What could monkeys and bears do? I could shoot them down with arrows. He sees an army working together to destroy him. Doubt floods his mind. We underestimate so many times the people in our lives. We underestimate the power that we have within ourselves, the ability to conquer, the ability to rise, the ability to do what we want, the ability to become motivated and inspired, the ability to become someone, to stand strong for who we are and what we represent. Many people will look at us, and from the way we physically look sometimes, they degrade us, they defame us, they look down at us. But the world, my friends, while the world looks at us and puts us down, the saying goes, never judge a book by its cover. It is up to us to stand strong and to become better. Today an individual said something to me in a prayer. That individual said that in the world that we're living today, thousands and thousands of people will suffer. But we have the choice from within to wake up on the inside and say, you know what, I am strong and I will make it through. If mentally, my friends, we have the power to say, I will do well and I will make it through, we will. Doctors have always said that when somebody enters the theater room and somebody enters the hospital with a feisty spirit, with a spirit that is once more filled with energy, that person is more likely to be healed faster than somebody who comes in and they are depressed. When you're depressed, automatically your mind goes down, your energy falls, your inner spirit falls, your weakness becomes more than anything. When you lack confidence in yourself, you will never be able to become successful. But even in the midst of being in the hospital with one of the sickness or the illness or anything in the world, when you have a nice energy aura from within and mentally, you can recover from anything. Tonight, there are many people who may be tuned in on a hospital bed around the world. There are many people who may be in their home, may be quarantined at this time. But even then, take the strength of Hanumanji, hold on to a murti and say, Lord, bless me, bless my home. I may not know where my life will turn to from this point. I do not know which direction I may take from this point onwards. But Lord, I put you first, and I know you will lead me in the right path. Friends, while Ravana thinks about it, Prabhu Rama, he says to Hanumanji, and he says to all those who are there, let us rest. The war will end soon, and we will be victorious. But at this time, we need to rest. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. That is said the entire army takes their rest. They take a moment to rest. Sometimes we need, amidst the world of the war that is taking place, we need a moment to recover. Sometimes the world will be throwing so many things at us. The world is ever fighting us every single day. Every single day you wake up, you have a challenge. Maybe your children, maybe your spouse, maybe in your job, maybe in your home, maybe in your relationship. Every day you are having a challenge, and a war is always brewing. A war is always taking place. You wake up and you go out into the world for your job, or you meet the people outside, and the people sometimes they give us an energy, sometimes even wonder, how do we exist in a world that is always fighting a war? And there the answer comes. Prabhu Ramachandra says, in the midst of the war, sometimes we need to take a moment to simply rest and to recover. While all the monkeys and bears, they're lying down, some would rub their wounds. Some will take the bushes that are around and they will create medicine and they will rub their wounds with it. Hanumanji, he will take some of the leaves that he would find and he will rub it together. He will take some of the sand and he will mix it with the water. And will rub it at the base of the feet of Prabhu Ram. Lord, I know you will have to walk again tomorrow. While you find this war, your feet may be parched with the heat of the sun. Have you ever gone on a hot day and walk on the sand on the beach? And the feet burns at that point? Prabhu Ramachandra, he's walking and his feet will burn, it will become red. And Lord Hanumanji will sit the entire night. He will say, Lord, I don't need to rest. I will rub your feet and will make sure you're fine by tomorrow. And while everybody's recovering, we need time sometimes with peace in mind to recover. Night has concluded and the morning is about to break. And while you're preparing for another day of war, listen, my friends. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jai Rama, Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jai Rama, Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya morning has dawned. The second day of the war is about to take place. And this time, when they get up and they're about to approach now Lanka and the walls of Lanka, they start picking up rocks now. They start taking rocks, and while they're walking, they're pelting it onto the walls of Lanka. They're pelting it on the walls of the palace, and they're breaking their way through, and they're walking in. At this point, some of the monkeys, they break their way through, and they go into the streets of Lanka, and they're running everywhere. They're scaring the people of Lanka and allowing them to know that when Prabhu Ramachandra has come, all negativity must disappear. They're showing the world that when God enters our life, all negativity must disappear. Some people ask the question, how is it I pray every single day and I pray so much, and yet I do not see the answers that I'm searching for? We can be a pious, divine soul, but understand that we live in a world that is filled with complications. We live in a world that is filled with negativities. We live in a world that is filled with problems and negative energy and negative aura. And while you walk out into the world, the minute you start your day and you start walking, the world is ready to bash you. The world is ready to throw you down. The world is ready, expect it, the world is ready to destroy you. And while our confidence, sometimes it's 100, there are the days when our confidence starts to fall low because we start questioning and doubting God. Remember, problems will never last forever. Remember, difficulties will never last forever. They will only be there for a time. Some people might say, yes, but how long more? It is all due to our karmas and our karmic actions that determine how long they'll be there for. But at this time, while the monkeys are breaking in Lanka, they are scaring everybody. Ravana calls on one of his great army men. He's called Prahasta. He looks fearful. If you see him, he goes on his chariot and all his armor, there are snakes on it. All his armor, it is said even in the armor of the wheel, in the wheel that is covered, there are snakes on it. It is said at the top of his chariot, there's a shield and there are snakes, there are serpents on it. He wants to indicate to the world, he wants to show the world that he can poison the world and destroy them by one arrow from his quiver. Ravana calls him. Ravana says it is time. I want you to go and I want you to destroy all of them. Shoot arrows of poison and kill all of them if you can. Ravana says, I want you to go there and I want you to destroy them. Shoot arrows of poison. Allow this poison to fly and scatter in the sky so that when it hits their skin, they will be destroyed. Prahasta, it is said at that point, listening to the words of Ravana, he's about to go. But because he has all these serpents, he prays to the god of the serpents. Nagadevata Trahima Pahima Nagadevata Trahima Pahima. If you think in your life you have poison, if you think in your life you are poisoned by negativity, you're poisoned by the people around you, you're poisoned by sickness or illness. To many people who are going through illness like cancer, to many people who are going through illness of the body and they don't know how to recover from it, today pray to Nagadevata. Why? We may be scared of the serpent and his snake, but Nagadevata is the Lord who has the ability to create the poison, bring it into our lives and even take it out. Long ago and even today in India, there's that village where many people go and they feed the snakes. I'm sure if you have to go there, you'll be scared. But today in India, they are the village where people worship the serpents. They worship Mahadev, they worship Nagadevata, and they take a glass of milk and they offer it to Nagadev. And we say, Nagadev, if there are poisons in my life, illness and sickness, and I'm going through something that not even doctors can help with, remove the toxins of my body. हे विष्णु को सैया पे सुनाने वाले, हे शंकर के गले को सुझाने वाले, नागदेवता त्राहि मां पाहि मां, नागदेवता त्राहि मां पाहि मां. Om Namo Narayanaaya Namaha. He goes onto the field and there he takes an arrow and he's about to now release arrows of poison. And the minute he pulls on the arrow, Hanumanji takes a big boulder of laces and he throws it onto the hands of Prahasta. With one blow, the arrows have fallen to the ground. It will not contaminate the skies. The arrows have fallen. Angad, he says, Hanumanji, I will take care of him now. And Angad jumps onto the chariot, and when he sees the serpents and the armor of serpents, in order to conquer him, he starts to sing the Nagadev. Komala Komala Angatihara Shamaranga Tore Nage Pyara Jile Mele Chalatihara Jaise Jamuna Jalaki Dhara He Jomate Hazar Anwale He Shesh Apne Dharati Ko Dane Wale Nagadevata Trahi Maan Pahi Maan Nagadevata Trahi Maan Pahi Maan. Jai Shri Ram. Har Har Mahadev. Hare Bhagwan Bola. सोए बालका रोए माता बालक है तुम पालक हो, प्राणदान दो जीवन दाता। हे वृक्ष अमृत को पिलाने वाले, ये भक्तों की लाज बचाने वाले, नाग देवता त्राहि मां पाहि मां, नाग देवता त्राहि मां पाहि मां। नागदेवता त्राहि मां पाहि मां. Ask for forgiveness. Nagadevata त्राहि मां पाहि मां. Vrindavan Vihari Lal ki jai. It is said while Angad sees all the Nagas, he prostrates and he says, "Forgive me today." He takes a rock and there he throws it at the chariot, breaking the wheel of Prahasta. And there he jumps right behind Prahasta and he pushes him off the chariot. And it is said at that point he takes his mace, his gada, and he starts to beat him. In no time he destroys Prahasta. Ravana thought he had sent a very powerful warrior, and in no time, with only the strength of Hanuman, Baba and Angad, he was destroyed. Ravana looked at what is going on and he says, "You know what, I can't deal with this anymore. Call my son. My son is as strong as me. My son is as powerful as me." He's called Meghnad. He's called Indrajeet. Why? Because he even tried to destroy Indra, Lord Indra. My son will be able to get this job done. Call my son and tell him to come. It is said sometimes, or most of the times, we acquire the strength and the energy of our parents. Meghnad, he acquired the strength or some of the strength of Ravana. Have you ever seen many times people look at children and say, "But wait a minute," but he start looking like his father, he start walking like his father, but when he's growing up, he's strong, he looks as though he's as powerful as when his father was young, but they look identical. Or maybe for a young girl or for a child or a daughter, we still look at her, she looks just like her mother, and she has become so smart, she's learned everything and even looks like the mother at that point, even though she's big. We would have taken traits of our ancestors, our mothers, our fathers, our great-grandparents and so on. And while they live through us, Ravana says, "My son will be as strong as me and he will live and work with the same principle." So he says now, "Leave and go. Meghnad, Indrajeet, go and bring me the head of that one that is called Ram. Destroy that one that is called Lakshmana. Destroy them if you must, and if you can bring their head, bring it. And if you can Meghnad, at that point, he decides now to gather his little army that he has. And with the army, he's about to now go onto the battlefield once more. And while he will go onto the battlefield, he goes with his chariot and he goes alongside 3 powerful warriors. They've stepped foot onto the battlefield now, and it's on the second day of the war. The war is taking place. Monkeys and bears, they are fighting. Rakshasas, they are fighting one another. Manji, he tries a diversion. So what does he do for the diversion? He decides now to take warriors with him. And he sends Jambuwali, a Rakshasa by the name of Jambuwali. He says, "Jambuwali, you take Hanuman Baba and you fight this way." This is his strategy. You take Jambuwali, you take Hanuman Baba and you go this way. He says, "Virupaksha, you take Lakshmana and you go this way. And leave that one that is called Ram for me. Let us work a plan now. Let us destroy them." Hanuman Baba is fighting on one end. Lakshmana is fighting on the other. And at this time now, Indrajeet decides to go to Prabhu Ramachandra. They're standing far apart, but they start releasing arrows against one another to fight this war. With every arrow that is shot from Indrajeet and with every arrow that is shot from Prabhu Ram, they are hitting one another. And even though they will hit, they will clash and they will disappear. Why? Because the power, my friends, of each is powerful. Arrows are being shot one after the next. Until, my friends, Jamwant is looking and he's seeing everything that is taking place on the field. He tries to distract Hanumanji, and when he goes to distract Hanumanji, Angad sees what is taking place. Angad goes to distract once more Lakshmana. And when Lakshmana turns, it is said he is hit with one blow by Virupaksha. He stands up strong nonetheless. He says, I don't mind. Angad, you take over here. I will go see about my Lord Prabhu Ramachandra. We must destroy this Indrajeet in order to win. What does Indrajeet do? Indrajeet jumps on his chariot and he goes into the skies. He has the power, the ability to go into the skies. And in the air, he takes 2 arrows and he mounts it on his bow. And he starts to pray. He calls upon Brahmadev. He calls upon his father Ravana and he says, today I want your strength. And he calls upon Nagadev. Nagadev, you've been called to help me. You've been called to help Prahasta and you were not successful. Today you will help me. At that point when Indrajeet prayed on his, he looked down onto the earth and he saw Prabhu Rama and Lakshmana, and there he released. And when he released the arrow coming down from the skies were not arrows anymore. They started turning into serpents coming down. Why? Because they were blessed by Nagadev. And as soon as they reached Prabhu Rama, before he could release an arrow, the serpents then surrounded Prabhu Rama and Lakshmana, capturing them and poisoning their bodies. It is said Prabhu Rama fell to the earth. Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama, oh. Prabhu Ram is on the ground. Lakshmana is on the ground. All the confidence and the energy of all the monkeys are just released. They stopped in everything that they were doing. Their Lord has fallen to the ground and he can't move. All the dogs and all the Rakshasas, they start retreating now because they are celebrating victory. He has fallen. Indrajeet has gone to his father, Prabhu Ravana. You have won the war. Look onto the field. You have won the war. Lord Ram is flat. Lakshmana is flat. He can't move. Ravana smiles and he says, I knew that you're as powerful as me. He starts to celebrate. They start laughing. And while they're laughing, he goes to Sita Devi. He says, Devi, won't you look at me? Don't you want to look at me? Your Lord has died on the battlefield. And Sita Mata says, died? My Lord, it has been prophesied in the hands of Lord Ram that he will live and he will rule the kingdom. It has been prophesied that he will live and he will have children. It has been prophesied that he will continue to perform Ashwamedha Yagyas. How can he die? What kind of faith is this? And she looks into the skies. Devatas, what kind of faith is this that Prabhu Ram is undergoing? She has been forced by some of the Rakshasas to enter a chariot that Ravana has set up. And she's pushed onto the chariot. She wants to see for herself, my Lord fallen. She's been pushed. And there she stands onto the chariot and the chariot goes into the air to visualize what is taking place. And when she looks down on the battlefield, she's seeing blood. She's seeing dead bodies. She's seeing everyone who has died. She sees monkeys and bears. And there in one corner, she sees everybody in a circle. She sees the said one, Hanuman Baba, who came to her. And she sees them looking down and lying there, the body of Lakshmana and the body of Sri Ram. And there she sees this can't be. The eyes are filled with tears. My Lord is no more. But Hanuman Baba, you promised. And while she's in the air, returning with a broken heart, listen. Shri Rama Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama, Shri Rama Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama. Oh. she goes back to the Ashoka and she sits there and tears are flowing. What should I do with my life now? Hanuman Baba is looking at the feet of Prabhu Ram and he says, Prabhu, utna. Prabhu. No movements. The Lord is unconscious and he cannot move. On the chambers, Ravana is celebrating. You could hear the uproar of celebration. Lord Ram has died. The word is getting out. Prabhu Ram has died and he will never stand. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya. Lord Hanumanji, he sits down and he's looking at the feet of Prabhu and he's putting his hands together. His heart hurts. How couldn't I save Prabhu Ram? And he looks at Ravana. It is said now in the split of a moment, according to the Hanuman Ank, it is said Hanumanji got up with his gada and enraged at that point. He made one leap at the top of the palace of Ravana. He saw Ravana there and he took his gada and he then hit with one blow and he hit off the crown of Ravana. It fell to the ground and he says, Ravana, you will be next. And he went back down to Prabhu Ram and he says, Lord, I will take a moment and I will build my energy and for your name I will do what has to be done. Ravana felt fear when he saw the strength of Hanumanji knocking down his crown. But he knew he won the war, so he didn't think anything. Sita Mata sits. She says, what is my life going to be now? What about the destiny? I've lived as a perfect woman. I've lived with the best of my ability. I've been born with the auspicious signs on my body to symbolize that I am living this divine life and I have come to save my Lord while He will save me. How is it He could leave before me? How can my Lord leave the earth before me? And she's shedding her tears and she's crying at that point. Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Oh. Jai Govinda. So this time now, Lord Hanumanji sits and he's pondering what next. Should I cancel the army? Should I just go back home? Prabhu Ram is no more. And he sits at the feet. And while he's sitting there, Sita Devi Mata, she's wondering what to do with my life. Lord Hanumanji, my friends, and Sita Devi, heartbroken, the loss of the Lord of the universe. If God disappears from your life, what will become of you? We take these simple things of life for granted. The ability to wink, the ability to speak, the ability to eat and to taste, the ability of the senses that we have, the ability to have loved ones or people in our lives. Do you know, while reading in one of my scriptures, I overcome something. I encountered something. Do you know, when you're a person who has a lot of people around you loving you and sharing light in your life, that you are blessed? And do you know, when you're a person where nobody wants to talk to you and nobody comes around you, it's actually a shrap? It's like a curse. It is said we must allow a divine aura to emanate from us, where people are drawn towards us and love us. We must build an aura and an energy to create positivity wherever we walk and wherever we go. In this way, Sita Mata is saying, how can I allow that energy to shine if my Lord is not here with me? So there, she's crying and she's asking, what now? Itna tu karna Swami, jab pran tanti nikali, Govinda naam lekar tab pran tanti nikali. इतना तू करना स्वामी, जब प्राण तन से निकले, गोविंद नाम लेकर तब प्राण तन से निकले, तब प्राण तन से निकले, तब प्राण तन से निकले. श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम. श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम. श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम. जय जय राम, जय जय राम. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. When my friends Mahavir Swami sat there and he saw Prabhu Rama, he says, no, I don't think my Lord could just die like that. He goes to the head of the Lord and he starts to shake him. He starts to shake him. Prabhu, utna. He goes by Lakshmana. Hare Bhaiji. And he takes his hands and he's pushing. Lakshmana ji, utna. Nothing. Sita Mata, she looks up at the skies and she sees the gods and the devatas of the heavens. And she says, is this what my life is supposed to be? I came and I suffered in the forest. Even then, I came here suffering at the feet of Ravana. And I will have to go through this. Even to see the loss of my Lord, Prabhu Ram. This can't happen. And there Hanumanji, even on his end, is asking why and how. The monkeys and the bears, they have lost their confidence. Without God in your life, you don't have confidence. Think about this. If you're not confident about doing something in your life, it is not because something is just wrong with you. You have lost touch with God. You have lost a connection with God. You have lost a connection with feeling the energy, the vibration of God. And in order to become that better person and to gain the confidence back, what should you do? Pray, my friends. Pray harder every day and every moment. Pray and put God in your heart and in your mind. Today, Hanumanji, he says, Lord, I will not lose you. We have a war. We have a war that we must win. Lord, I don't know what else to do, but I will sit at your feet and I know your name is powerful. I will chant, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram. When suddenly from the air you could hear someone coming. You could hear the strum of a veena. Hari Narayana Narayan. The great celestial sage is coming down. And he's looking at Bajrangabali, mighty, powerful Gada and big, strong energy. And you're just there moping, as you were to say, down and depressed. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. He says, no. Mahavir, Ot, Pavanaputra. Look at your Lord. Your Lord is the incarnation of Mahavishnu. He's only imprisoned by the body that you see. He's beyond this world. Today you will chant Jai Shri Ram, but my Lord can help you. He is Mahavishnu. Bajrangabali, I will teach you that 8-syllable mantra today. Chant it with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hanumanji, I will tell you today. You want to save your Lord? He is but one. Mahavishnu has taken Dash avatar. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He says, chant it, Mahavir. Your mantra is Jai Shri Ram, but today you need his bigger strength. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And while he's chanting that mantra, it is said in the skies the weather changes. The atmosphere starts to change. The wind starts to blow. You could hear now the crack of the thunder. You could see the lightning everywhere. Something is happening and something has changed the aura. At that point, Ravana is hearing the crackling of the thunder. And he's not paying attention. But from the skies, Mahavir starts to chant. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And when the wind speed starts to pick up, it is said soaring from the clouds. They start seeing a shadow above the clouds, but they can't tell what it is. It is a shadow that is above the clouds. And Hanumanji, while chanting, is looking up. Are Narada, kaun hai? Narada, wo kaun hai? And it is said now bursting through the clouds. It is said serpents will fear him when they see him. This serpent that is now coiled around Prabhu Ramachandra, they will fear him when they see him. Bursting from the clouds, my friends. It is said Garuda, the Vahana, the vehicle of Lord Vishnu. That beautiful eagle, that bird, my friends, he starts to soar through the sky and he's flying around the battlefield. And while he's flying around, it is said by simply seeing Garuda, the serpents around the body of the Lord starts to shake a little bit. It starts to move a little bit. Because if they are in the mouth or the beak of that bird, Garuda, they will die. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Garuda is flying in a circle, and wherever his wings will pass, he will cut the trees that are nearby. He will soar around in the sky, and there he will come down and he will sweep above Prabhu Ram, and he will go back into the air, and he will go in circles. When suddenly he will come down, and as soon as he comes closer to the body, the serpents automatically starts to release. In fear of Garuda, they start going in their direction. They are releasing the body of Prabhu Ramachandra and Lakshmana, and they start going into the earth. Because if they are held and kept by Garuda, they will die. While they disappear, Garuda goes now and he kneels down before Prabhu Ramachandra. Says, Lord, remember who you are. You are not Prabhu Ramachandra, but you are Mahavishnu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Garuda, my dear friends, while Garuda is standing next to Lord Hanumanji, he says, today I will pass through you, Mahavir Swami. And the day you need to call upon me, I will be a part and parcel of you. A connection between Lord Hanuman and Garuda is formed on that day. And when he passes through Mahavir Swami, he disappears, and now the bird soars back into the sky and it disappears. When Prabhu Ramachandra, he starts to shake a little bit, he starts to regain his consciousness as though he was in a sleep. He says, Bajrangabali, what is happening? Why am I lying down? What is taking place with the war? Tell me, someone say something. At that point, nobody paid attention to the war, but the monkeys started to hail victory. It is said all the bears, they started to hail victory. It is said the gods of the heavens, they started to hail victory. And while they're hailing their victory, Sita Mata is hearing the outburst of victory to the Lord. Prabhu Ramachandra ki jai. And while she's hearing the noise and the sound of victory, Ravana, in his palace, he hears the outburst of the shouting of the monkeys and the bears. And when he turns around, the Lord is standing strong and powerful. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrindavan mein Hari Lal ki jai. When the sound of victory was heard, Ravana looked out and he saw Prabhu Ramachandra standing. He saw Lakshmana standing. He says, how could this be possible? How could this happen? The news has gone back to Sita Devi. And while Sita Mata is there, one of the Rakshasi Devi says, did you hear, Devi? The Lord has stood up once more. The serpents have left. Your Lord is standing strong and is powerful. Nobody can destroy your Lord. He will continue to fight this war. And right now as you speak, Lakshmana, he's calling back out that said Meghnad, that said Indrajeet. He's calling him out to war. Let us wait and see what will happen. Umapati Mahadeva ki jai. Friends and devotees, while Lakshmana stands there with his bow and his arrow, he calls out Indrajeet, Meghnad. And while Meghnad is about to enter the battlefield once more, tomorrow night definitely we will continue with what happens on the battlefield of Lanka, while Prabhu Ramachandra, along with his entire army and his team, they're waiting to retrieve the divine goddess, Shri Sita Devi Mata. Prem Susumapati Mahadeva ki jai. At this time, friends and bhaktas, as we conclude our katha tonight, while we will continue with the wonderful messages and the energy of our Lord, this is where we are about to join in our final arati. We all stand, and to those who are tuned in tonight, in your homes, you can even light a little diya, and you can offer the arati by a murti of Lord Hanumanji, as you now join in our wonderful arati. Arati ki jai, Hanuman lala ki. Dushta dalana Raghunatha kala ki. Arati ki jai, Hanuman lala ki. Dushta dalana Raghunatha kala ki. Arati ki jai, Hanuman lala ki. Dushadalana Raghunatha kala ki. जाके बल से गिरिवर कापे, मृग दोष जाके निकट न जाके. जय श्री राम. जाके बल से गिरिवर कापे, मृग दोष जाके निकट न जाके. अंजनी पुत्र अमलदाई, रतन के बार न लाए। लक्ष्मण मूरजित परे सकारे, आदि संजीवन प्राण उभारे। लक्ष्मण मूरजित परे सकारे, आदि संजीवन प्राण उभारे। बैठी हो पैसी पताल तोरे जमकारी, अहि रावण के भुजा उतारे। सुनर मुनि आरती उतारे, जय 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 हनुमान उतारे। सुनर मुनि आरती उतारे, जय 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 हनुमान उतारे। कंचन 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 तारक पुरलातारी, आरती करत अंजना माये। वीरा हनुमाना के बलवान, राम राम सिया रे। वीरा हनुमाना के बलवान, राम राम रसिया रे। हे प्रभु मन बसिया रे, ओ हो प्रभु मन बसिया रे। सीताराम जय सीताराम, राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम। 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 वीरा हनुमाना के बलवान, राम राम रसिया रे। हे प्रभु मन बसिया रे, ओ हो प्रभु मन बसिया रे। ओम श्री हनुमते नमः। ओम श्री मारुतात्मजाय नमः। ओम श्री आंजनेयाय नमः। हर 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 महादेव, 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 हर 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 महादेव। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम। प्रेम सुषमापति महादेव की जय, बजरंग बली की जय। आसन लीजिए, let us all take our seats.